You'll use about 16,000 words today. For at least 200,000 of the 300,000 years humans have existed, your ancestors used zero. No words, no writing, no way to say, I love you, or I forgive you, or come back tomorrow. And yet somehow, tribes of 40 people hunted together, raised children, punished criminals, and kept order without ever speaking a single sentence. How? They didn't just survive. They built the foundation of everything you do today. Every meeting that ends without anyone saying it's over. Every group chat that goes quiet. Every time you sense someone is lying before they finish their sentence, that's not modern intuition. That's a system older than language by 100,000 years, and it's still running, right now, underneath everything. The first thing they used was their bodies. In 1992, two Harvard psychologists, Nalini Ambady and Robert Rosenthal, ran one of the strangest experiments in social science. They showed volunteers silent video clips of strangers, no audio, no context, and asked them to rate the person's dominance, warmth, and trustworthiness. The clips were 2 seconds long. The judgments were nearly as accurate as evaluations made over months. 2 seconds. No words. The body had already said everything. A human body, even silent, leaks information constantly. Posture, eye contact, the angle of someone's shoulders, how close they stand to you, what they do with their hands, none of it had to be invented. It was already there, inherited from millions of years of being a primate. That's how the tribe knew who was in charge. Not by being told, by watching. Children learned the same way kids today still do. You copied your mother, you copied the older boys, you copied whoever didn't get yelled at. Imitation was the first school, and it didn't need a single word. Then there was food. In 1985, anthropologists Hillard Kaplan and Kim Hill published a study in Current Anthropology that became foundational. They had spent years with the Ache, a hunter-gatherer group in eastern Paraguay. What they found was that when an Ache hunter killed an animal, he kept almost none of the meat. He distributed it to the group. Sometimes he ate less of his own catch than people who hadn't hunted at all. This wasn't generosity. It was law. If you killed something, you didn't own it. The group did. You handed pieces around in a specific order, and the order itself was a map of relationships. A good hunter who refused to share wasn't admired for his catch. He was watched, then teased, then frozen out. Sharing wasn't about being kind. It was about staying inside the group. And being inside the group was the difference between living and dying, which is why what came next was the most brutal thing the tribe ever invented, and they did it without a single word. Tribes without language didn't have courts. They didn't need them. The most powerful punishment humans ever invented wasn't violence, it was silence. If someone took too much, if they hoarded, if they hit a child for no reason, if they started acting like they were more important than the rest, the group did something subtle and devastating. They stopped looking at him, they stopped including him in jokes, they left him out of meals. They turned a little colder every day, not all at once, just enough that he noticed. In 2003, UCLA neuroscientists Naomi Eisenberger and Matthew Lieberman, working with psychologist Kipling Williams, ran an fMRI study published in Science. They had volunteers play a virtual ball toss game, then secretly excluded them. The brain scans showed something nobody expected. Social rejection activated the same regions as physical pain, the anterior cingulate cortex. The brain doesn't process being ignored as an emotion, it processes it as injury. That's why ostracism worked. In a tribe, being frozen out wasn't social discomfort, it wasn't being unpopular, it was a death sentence. Slow, quiet, executed by people you used to call family. And nobody had to say a word. You can still feel the ghost of it today. Every time a workplace goes cold on someone, every time a group chat goes quiet the moment one person joins, the mechanics never changed, only the setting. Then there was rhythm. In 2009, two Stanford researchers, Scott Wiltermuth and Chip Heath, published a study in Psychological Science. They had strangers walk in step, sing together, or move in synchrony, and then play economic cooperation games. The synchronized groups gave more, trusted more, and cooperated more than groups that hadn't moved together, even when cooperating cost them money. This is what tribes did without knowing why. They walked in step, they worked in step, they danced, they drummed on logs, they clapped, stomped, hummed, swayed, None of it looks like communication when you describe it, but it was. You can still see it in any group that wants to feel unified. Soldiers march, choirs sing, stadiums move as one. The reason is the same reason it worked 20,000 years ago. Bodies in rhythm tell each other, without a word, that they're on the same side. Then came the rituals, which is just another name for things done the same way over and over until they meant something. The same fire built in the same place. The same gestures before a hunt. The same way of holding a baby up to the sky. The same marks painted on a wall after a kill. Repeating a thing turns it into a symbol, and symbols held together what words couldn't yet describe. A tribe didn't need a religion to have something sacred. It just needed to do something the same way for long enough. But there was one more layer, and it's the one that, when it disappeared, took entire civilizations down with it: memory. Without writing, without language, the only place a tribe's knowledge could live was inside its people. Where the water came from when it stopped raining. Which berries killed you in spring but not in summer? Where the herds passed in the dry season. Who was related to who? 3 generations back. Geographer Patrick Nunn and linguist Nick Reed spent years studying Aboriginal Australian oral traditions and found something almost no one believed was possible. Stories passed down through nothing but voice and memory had preserved accurate descriptions of coastal events from over 12,000 years ago. Sea levels rising, islands disappearing, volcanoes erupting, generation after generation, intact, across the gap between the last ice age and now. No writing, no records. Just memory, kept alive in people. The oldest people in a tribe weren't elders because of tradition. They were elders because they were the library. Killing an old person didn't just kill a person, it was arson. You weren't just murdering someone, you were burning the only copy of everything the tribe knew about surviving: where the water was, which berries killed in spring but not in summer, how to read the sky before a storm. All of it. Gone. In one death. That's why the old were protected, not out of kindness, out of survival. And here's the part nobody talks about. None of this went away. You still read a room without anyone speaking. You still feel when a group goes cold on you. You still notice who other people turn toward in a meeting. You still hand the better slice to the person you want to keep around. You still get pulled into rhythm at a concert, a wedding, a crowded street. You still trust your oldest friend's memory more than your own notes. The tribe didn't go anywhere. It just learned to talk over itself. Every meeting that ends without anyone saying it's over. Every group chat that goes cold. Every time you walk into a room and feel who's in charge without anyone telling you, that's not instinct. That's not magic. That's a 100,000-year-old operating system still running underneath everything we say. We added words on top. We never replaced what was underneath. Most of us just stopped noticing it was there. So before you go, think about a moment recently when a group made a decision without anyone actually saying it. The mood shifted. Someone got left out. A plan formed without a meeting. Drop it in the comments. I want to read those. Because honestly, that's still the tribe doing what it's always done.